We're going to take that customer that comes through our door and we are going to make that customer one for life. Our service initiative has been what built this company from day one. Every coach that we've built and put on the road still out there running, every single one.
One of the best kept secrets in the luxury motor coach industry is Millennium Luxury Coaches. And today we're catching up with Nelson Figueroa, president and founder of Millennium. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm so honored that you're here with us. We have not had an opportunity to meet, Andrew. You know, we're followers. Your energy is transparent. I feel it, and I want to portray some of mine. I want to show you some of my energy.
Yes, sir. Well, I've been a huge fan of Millennium for a long time. Some of my very early videos with Midlife Prevo, they have an 03 Millennium that they're still using regularly.
Absolutely.
And have a lot of great stories. And I'm extremely impressed with the quality of that coach and how it's held up over time. And then I've seen some of your more recent builds. But today I want to learn more about your story, how you got to where Millennium's at today. And I think we're going to do some more videos showing all of the product in depth, and we have a lot to explore for the viewers. But I want to go back to your roots before you ever founded Millennium. How did you get your start?
I tell you, it's like any time that I go back and I have to go back and think about it, it shocks me. It impresses me too. But you know, it started with my mom. Tell you the truth, my mom always preached to me since I was a young kid. Whatever I dreamt, I needed to go back to bed because it was never big enough. Third grade education she had, barely wrote her name. Smartest woman I've ever met, right? She can be amongst bankers and dominate the room, right? So I learned a lot from her. Joined the Army at 17, really tricked her into signing my papers to release me into the U.S. Army, which she did. And I joined in the aviation field, which is, you know, the Army has the largest aviation in the world. Aviation, you know, units, right? Helicopters and some fixed wings. So I was there for 5 years, 4 years, 10 months, and 21 days.
So when you were in the Army, what was your position and what did you learn while you were serving?
When I joined the service, the first job, obviously, that they offer every 17-year-old kid is infantry. And I didn't think I wanted to be an infantryman. So just like buying a car, really. As I was walking out of the station, you know, the map station, they call it, some guy came out, hey, wait, we found this job for you. It was about helicopters in aviation. I was a flight control and avionics navigation technician. So I went to school for a year, which is one of the longest Army training schools for that job. And then right away I went to work. Developed a love for anything electronics, so I pursued a degree in digital electronics engineering. I was known as the fixer, so our pilots got to know who I was, and if they had a problem and the aircraft was grounded, they would call me because they knew that I would figure something out. Put the first VCR on a FLIR, you know, on a forward infrared camera, playing with it, you know, right before Desert Shield. But that started all from my mom. You know, I think that the first thing that I did electronic-wise is took her brand new Corolla at the time, and I wanted to put a new radio in it to match my cousin's, you know, big speakers. And my dad said, no, if you let him do it, he's going to burn it up. My mom drove it in the back of the house and said, do whatever you want. Almost burned it. I finished my military career. I came to Florida to finish my degree. I ended up at the airport working on DC-10s and L-1011s and private jets, doing avionics. So avionics and flight control. Did that for a year. I ended up in the building that we're in and building boats. So I was building Vantari boats. They were called Rexmeyer at the time.
Okay, what year was that?
When I started on the boat, so that was right in '92. One day I'm sitting there working on a 55-foot tri-deck. Mike Guth, the founder of Vantari, pulled in with a shell, a 40-foot XL. Said, build that bus like you're building that boat. And we did a couple of those. It was like love at first sight. I could not believe that such thing existed. My goal at that time was just to be the guy that ran the plant. I wanted to be the smartest guy in the room.
At that time, you know, Millennium was not founded until later. What company were those first conversions done under? Was that under the Vantari name?
So that was a whole different company. So the Vantari name, once the boat company went out of business and I went on my own, I did some control system work myself. I came back to this building and Mike Guth was building Vantaris, and I joined him to continue that legacy of building that product.
So what was your technical job title? Who were you working for?
So I was working for Mike Guth, and believe it or not, I was an electrician. And month, I was an electrical department lead. A month after that, I was electrical mechanical department lead. 2 months after that, I was a plant manager. So I just kept running from there, So I did all the engineering, controls, purchasing. It was a smaller company at that time.
Now, was that for boats and motor coaches?
No, the boats were gone at that time. That was just for the motorhome side, for Ontario motorhomes.
Okay, so about 92, 93?
93, that's when that started happening. 94, actually it was 94. That's when my daughter was born, Alexandra. I decided, to come back to Central Florida and make this my permanent home because of my baby. After that, it was just uphill from there. We just kept growing. And one time I went to Mike and I said, Mike, I feel like I'm stepping on people's toes. And he says, Nelson, it's okay to step on somebody's toes as long as you say, I'm sorry and excuse me after you do it. I grew up the ranks, and then when the energy changed within the company, when it got sold to a bigger company and things changed and it was not the same, I was more money driven than relationship driven. That's when I decided that I needed to do something different. And believe it or not, I was going to be a stay-at-home dad, actually.
You mentioned it. You felt like the company was going from this is Mr. Smith's coach to this is Coach 102. It didn't have that same personal touch.
Very disconnected from the personal side. And this is a personal business. Like, there are relationships. And, when we call a family, I have a big family on my mother's side, 12 uncles and aunts. And when we get together, man, we don't like each other. Not everybody is in love with each other, right? But we are family. We work through it. I like that. I like that family feeling. I like for that customer to call me and ask me for something. Most of the calls is like, how you doing and what's going on in your life. So that's what family does. And that's what I wanted to restart. I wanted to take Mike and Marsha's legacy and make it my own. A lot of mentoring and help from a young man named John Staluppi, John and Jeanette. They were the backbone of Millennium when I decided to do that. So United Coach Works is the main company. We are doing a DBA, Millennium Luxury Coaches, because we have multiple entities that we manage through United Coach Works. Mr. Staluppi and his wife, Jeanette, pioneers. They're just pushers. They have a vision. And I learned from them, that if you can afford to fix it and you think it's going to work, do it. If you can go backwards and fix it, do it. That's really what's driven me to be here today.
Back to your story, you were thinking about becoming a stay-at-home dad.
I was.
But you went in a different direction.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't know, but let me tell you, I had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. My wife at the time was a nurse. She went to work full-time. I stayed home, and it was about 2 weeks. And after multiple doctor visits and going to the park with 2 different bags and forgetting Binky or the little teddy bear and having to turn around, 2 weeks of that, I said, I can deal with my customers better than I can deal with my children. And now somebody's going to get hurt. So I went to prayer and I said, God, thank you for the opportunity, but I know that I'm no wire or will I ever be qualified to be a stay-at-home dad. So I took the $500 we had in the bank account and I became incorporated, and that's when Mr. Staluppi and his wife stepped in and said, I need you to help me build a couple XLs. And that's how Millennium started. How
many coaches did you build that year?
For John and Jeanette, we did about 7 between 2002 and 2004. And what he was doing is he was retailing it to a dealer. And at the end, John, his mind is bigger than life, right? He always wants to keep stepping, so he was into speedboats or large super yachts that were the fastest in the world. And we made a deal. We bought the name, stopped the dealership program. We started selling direct in 2004. And it's been, I remember I'm not a salesman, like, what do I do now? I pick up the phone call. I called one guy that I knew, gave him a deal. He says, how much money you want for a deposit? And I have no idea, right? I'm like, I don't know, 50,000, and he did. Next day we had it, and I sold my first coach. So I just got hooked on that.
And you were mentioning earlier that every one of these coaches is like a child to you.
Yep.
And I mentioned my good friend Courtney Heathers, I believe it's an 03 double slide XL2. Was that one of your first coaches?
Absolutely, yep. We have some 2001. So every coach that we've built and put on the road still out there running, every single one. There's no losses on that. They become part of you, right? And what I tell our customers is like, okay, you're driving this thing out of here, but it's still mine. And if it misbehaves, you need to call me because I straighten it out, right? Because it's mine. It's like you sending your kid to the neighbor's house. They're always going to behave great, but not always, right? we're always going to be there for that. I'm personally connected, and you see, I'm here at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm running the floor, managing my managers. They don't like me when I start grabbing things because they want to be there for me. They want me to be the visionary, but that's how I get the vision.
How many employees did you start with back in the early 2000s?
4 people in my very first payroll. I was so proud. We got it done. Sent everybody out, and the day was done, and it's a Friday, and people start coming back into the shop because I'm working late. And I'm like, oh, what happened? I forgot to sign the checks, the payroll checks. So everybody had to come back for me to sign them. So that's what a rookie I was at that point,
A lot of lessons to learn. The only way to learn is by getting in there and putting in the reps.
That's totally it.
Building the coaches. So you said about 7 coaches over those first few years. Now, you started at a difficult time because around that 06, 07, 08 era, a lot of RV companies did not survive that era. And I remember the first time I saw you was out in Sturgis in 2011, I believe, and Millennium was firing on all cylinders.
We were.
Had quite a few coaches out there. I mean, everybody was, really putting Millennium at the top of the game in the Prevost conversion game. What was that transition from the early 2000s into that recession?
If you go and take military background, being in aviation, you have to have a backup to everything, right? You can't be out in the middle of the ocean and not have power, right? Or you can't be at 40,000 feet and lose something, right? You need to always have a way out. So I'm extremely careful on how I run my business. I like it to a wild horse that I'm riding, but I'm controlling it, right? So sometimes I let it get speed, sometimes I pull back on the reins and I let it go back. In 2007, right before the big crisis, we had some pre-sold units, which really helped us not have to be as aggressive in the sales side. By that time, Andrew, there were over 30 converters. There was a list of converters. And I remember getting phone calls from these big guys. Hey, my company's for sale. Do you want to buy it? And I'm like, I'm the little guy here. What are you kidding me? No, I got a company. I don't want to buy your company. This business is cyclical a little bit. I just like to stay underneath that big wave. So I don't participate when it's super, super crazy good, but that means that I don't take the hit at the bottom when it's really, really bad. And we forecast, ask questions, look at the financials, look at stock market, literally look at Amazon, trucks going through the neighborhood, when things are going to slow down.
Now, coming back into this building, you mentioned that you worked in this building back in the early 90s. Where were the first Millenniums being built? Was that here at this building, or?
The first Millenniums, actually, we had a 4,000 square foot shop by the Sanford Airport. And I remember that it was all open. So we had a fax machine back then, fax machine, telephone, scanner, copier, all in one, and a table saw right next to it. So when the phone would ring, we would have to tell everybody, stop all the machines, turn the air compressor off, and be quiet. Pick up Millennium Luxury Coaches. How may I help you? Somebody that would need something. Okay, we set it up, hang up, all right, crank everything back up. So we did that for a couple of years, and then we ended up just down the street here, a couple of blocks, in a building about 12,000 square feet. I looked in that door and I said, how are we going to go from 4,000 to 12,000? In 2 years, we ended up with 36,000 square, plus another 10,000 square foot kind of administrative office design room. We did that just a couple of blocks on the street here until 2010.
And how many employees were you at that time?
We were right at 30, 35.
And then you had the opportunity to come back to this building that you worked in back in the early 90s, about 18 years later?
There was a forklift for sale, and I came to look at it. And I met with the principal of the company that was, at that time, Federlite. He asked me, he says, hey, why don't we trade leases? I'm slowing down. You're obviously picking up. Can I take your building and you take my building? We just trade leases, and which we did. And we had a date of April 1st, 2010. We prepared, we loaded. So April 1st, 2010, we broke down over there. We set up here, and by 9 o'clock in the morning, I was already building a coach. It took them 1 month to move out. I was building a coach while they were still moving out. That was in 2010. A big humbling moment for me. This has been my area, and I've always looked to the people in the office as, the smartest guys in the room. I wanted to be that. And then next thing you know, I'm back here as an owner with bigger responsibilities in a bigger shop, for sure. So that we needed to fill very quickly.
Now, how many coaches a year were you building at that time?
So, I think that we peaked in, 2010, we peaked at 14. We did some 15 and 16 coach years.
How many total Millenniums have you built since those first couple in the early 2000s?
So I think the total now is 268.
Wow.
Every one of them are still on the road.
And you've been pretty quiet. I kind of called you out recently. You guys are so busy building all of these coaches, and I can tell that's what you're passionate about, that you're not always pulling out cameras and taking pictures and showing off and bragging on all your amazing work. But you've already built quite a few of the new body style 9660 shells.
We named them the Renaissance. It's a rebirth of something that was already great. So the 9660 to us means the Renaissance, the rebirth of something that was beautiful and worked and evolved. This 9660 and the 100th year with Prevost, it's a rebirth. It was a rebirth for us. It was a rebirth for the chassis. It was a rebirth for our people. We have, I would say, 7 or 8 out on the road right now. They're performing just as expected, flawlessly.
So what are some of your philosophies, for Millennium? What are your core values, and what is your company all about?
There has been stages in my professional life, especially as a business owner. My first year, I was in the Bay wiring panels. My second year, learned how to build cabinets. When I had to deliver a coach, I would be the guy driving it there. Just all the little things that you have to do to become successful. That transition into now I need to get out of the base, and I need to now give me a team that can do this without me. And that was my focus. And now that we do have that team, at this point, I don't build a coach. I inspect and I design and I encourage, but I build the people that build that coach. I've tried to reach that glass ceiling on everyone, right? I haven't reached mine yet. Some days I wish I did, because I would know that I'm there, right? I never feel like I've done what I'm supposed to be doing. My stage right now is of mentorship and growth of people that will in turn build coaches, and eventually will build people that will continue to build coaches.
How would you describe Nelson as a leader?
Passionate. He is the most passionate guy that I have ever met. He knows this product inside and out, and there are days that I just want to follow him around just to learn more. He's so enthusiastic about what he does every single day that you can see it. It's contagious. Everyone really feels that. We rally behind him. We want to help him get his product out there. We want to help him build it because he makes you feel that way. He helps build you up so you can build these coaches.
Came on with Nelson right around the beginning of 2011 and just absolutely love it. I love everything about our company in regard to the culture, and they always say that it starts at the top, and it truly does. There's just certain ways we want to do things here and how things need to be brought to the customer when you're dealing with the customers, and just over and above. You always need to be thinking over and above for the clients. I mean, let's face it, without them, there is no Millennium Motor Coaches, right? So we got to have those people, and we got to be able to have them feel confident and comfortable in us, that we are gonna be there for them, that we're gonna take care of them, and we're gonna always do the right thing. And that's what was always instilled and what I felt when I came to work here. It feels good to know that everybody's thinking the same way. The customers feel that as well. They know that there's always gonna be someone here. You know what I mean? If it's on the phone or if it's here that we have to go out to the coach and go through something with them, we're always there for them, and they appreciate that.
Nelson is a mentor. He leads by example, and so many people follow that as well. He's gonna beat you to work. He's gonna stay here longer than you. He sets his expectations, and then you have to meet them. I couldn't imagine working for anyone different. He's given me every opportunity, even the ones that I don't ask for. He's given that to me. And his leadership skills have actually made it possible for everyone on our team to succeed and to provide for their family. That's the kind of leader he is.
I am vice president, and I have been here about 9 years. I do a little bit of everything. I started out hitting the ground running with Nelson. As soon as we had gotten married and he wanted to introduce this industry to me, we did a tour of all the RV parks around and just got really into sales. So it was important to meet the customers, know who I was working with, get a feel of what the industry was all about. And that was definitely the best way to do that. See our customers in their element and know what they like, know what they love in a coach. So that made it easier once we came back and I got involved more with design, that I knew what they wanted. I knew that the little spots that they wanted brighter or lighter or what they wanted. Being on the road with sales helped me a lot with design.
And how is it working with Nelson every day?
We work side by side. Some days we go opposite ways and we see each other at lunch, but then there's other times that we are intertwined all day long. So there's never a dull moment, for sure. We are always moving, and I find some issues out on the floor, come back and I say, I think you need to go out there and see this one. And then we do the same back and forth. So I think we make a great team. He's the smartest man that I know.
On the other side of that is service. You're gonna do service with that servant's heart, and people go, servant's heart. If that's what you want, I can bring you your drink on a silver tray. But no, I'm gonna have a heart. Our company, not just me, our company has been trained. One of my top lieutenants said the other day, he says, Nelson, we're in this situation because we're doers. We're not salespeople. We're doers. Somebody calls, we don't ask questions, we do it immediately, right? And that touched me because that's my philosophy. We're doers, we're mentors, we're builders of people. We're gonna take that customer that comes through our door, and we are gonna make that customer one for life. And we're gonna do that through service.
Absolutely. And how many total employees do you have now?
Today we have 110.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Is there any other particular traits that you look for in your employees when you're recruiting? Actually,
we do. We have some core values that are writing that are non-negotiable. And showing up and being accountable is one of them. The number one. This is what I tell people that come in. And this is a very niche industry. Like I can't plug somebody that has been doing this for 30 years. We can't find that person. So we need to take somebody and train. And I interview pretty much everyone that comes through the door. You show up, you have a good attitude, I'll teach you anything you want. Showing up, just being present, who you are as a person. If you want to grow, that's a plus. If you don't want to grow, we had a guy that retired with us, one of our original employees. I fought with him for 20 years to try to move him out of cabinet lamination, and every time I did, he would be not happy. This was his little niche. So I learned that not everybody has to be at the top. This guy found his niche, just like I found my niche, just like he found your niche, and he was comfortable there. So me learning that and working with that has been critical.
In the Prevost conversions, I know there's a mix of the H's and the X's. Do you have a goal as to how many coaches you're going to have completed in the year 2024? And what's the mix up of the H's and the X's?
When you look at our production line today, 80% is going to be H's, the other 20% is going to be X3s. And they vary from 2-bathroom X3s to non-slides. Lara wanted to build an X3 on spec because she liked the body style, she liked the space inside. We're working on that right now. Hopefully use it for a little bit. I'll put all the bells and whistles in it and travel a little bit in it.
I think I saw a non-slide X back there. You do build non-slides, double slides,
yep,
but mostly quad H's?
Quad H's are big business. We have figured out how to do the weight and balance, and once we go through into the product display and how we do that, that lightweight poplar is big time. Our countertop fabrication is something that really does it. Going back to the aviation, center of gravity, we are very careful with that.
And you do a lot of international business as well?
We do. We have been blessed with a lot of Canadian fans, and I think that has been because of the look and the interior look, because of the systems. We do have a service network in Canada as well. Most of them have had our product already. Of course, we have some new people coming in every year. Like we're sitting on a coach that will be going to Canada. This coach will be showing at the Prevost 100.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then it's going to get delivered right then.
I know a lot of my friends north of the border are very savvy buyers, so definitely a testament for Millennium that you're able to have that international business.
And I'm learning French in the process. I was texting in French yesterday, and thanks for Google Translator, and my wife looked at it and she goes, man, I'm so impressed. I'll play with that one for a little bit.
You seem like the kind of guy that if you really want to learn something, you're gonna make it happen.
Well, I went to Korea. When I was in Korea for a year, I learned Korean. I got immersed. I moved downtown. I got immersed into the Korean culture, and have friends and, Korean friends that I would go and visit and families. And so, yeah, I love, learning new things.
Now, what are your current goals with Millennium going into the future? What do you see the future of Millennium being?
So the future is something, because I work every day, and I come home tired and bloody and sweaty and dirty. So I'm not your typical founder, owner. I'm on the floor, I'm looking, I'm designing, I'm helping, I'm mentoring, I'm teaching. I feel like there's more. My wife is like, how many more laps do you need to be ahead to consider yourself a winner? You are, in her eyes, obviously, in my eyes too, you are leading the pack here. Calm down. You don't have to be a winner at everything. You don't have to be an alpha at everything. And I disagree with that. Our service initiative has been what built this company from day one. So we are going to solidify that service initiative, bringing new people into our business, into our industry, as an industry. People that don't know the Prevo market, people that don't understand what to do with the Prevo and what happens. Our industry has been one that a stranger will walk up to the bus. First question is, how much? $3 million. We scare people, right? We learned early on that we welcome everyone. For $400,000, you can buy you a pretty nice used Prevo. That's our approach. We can build you a $3 million bus, but with a $600,000 motorhome is better than what you're about to buy here at the show. So that kind of mentality has helped us not only educate, but transform some of this potential Class A buyers multiple times into the Prevo family. And then from there, you don't lose them. You treat them with kindness and respect, being of service to all with a servant's heart, and they have no room to go.
Millennium's clients are truly special. Our clients come from all walks of life, and they all have one thing in common, and that's Millennium.
Something that I tell everyone is we have a different type of clientele. It's not a secret. We're in Prevos. It's just different. But we are so lucky with the clientele that we have. I don't know what the right wording is for it, but they're just amazing. They understand the product, they understand the process, and they believe in what we're doing. So when we go through it, we're going through it with them. It's not something that they just show up, they say we want to coach, and then we deliver it, however many months later. In this case, it's we get with them, we understand them, we learn them, and then we build their vision. So it's like one of those things where we just have the best customers, so we get to do that with them.
My title here is Customer Care Manager. We actually have 2 customer care managers. Customer care manager, a little bit different than customer service. Customer service typically is just you have a number that you call, that person walks you through something, or you're having to return something or something like that. Customer care, we developed it. The customer care came around about 2 years after I got here. Nelson realized was that there's kind of a void between the sale of the coach and the delivery to the customer. And he thought that we needed to come up with position for that. What we do as the customer care manager is we're actually following the whole process through with the customers. We'll be there right next to the designers as they're going through and picking out fabrics and picking out their appliances and picking out all these different things, that are going to be on there. Then we'll also meet directly with the clients to pick out anything that might be an extra feature that they want, not necessarily a standard on the coach. Something that's unique to them, something that they need on their coach. So we'll go through those with them, developing a list, and then following those items through the build process to be sure that when the customer gets their coach, it's going to have all of the things that they wanted to have on it that are over and above. From there on out too, we also are doing the orientation. So when the client comes to pick up their new coach, I'll be going through the coach with them, making sure that everything is good, making sure they understand all of the systems, everything that's incorporated into the coach, and how to use it. It can take upwards of a week that I'll spend with those customers here. I'll leave it up to them. And then of course, after the orientation and going through it, we're part of the 24/7. Anytime, it doesn't matter if it's 2:30 in the morning, because I've had those calls, which I don't mind at all. When they have just a quick question, when they have an issue, anything that's going on with the coach, they understand that they always have someone that is going to pick up that phone and is going to help them out. And I always tell them, the good thing is that if I don't have the answer, I know who does. So I can then go and get that answer for them and get them helped out. So it's exciting. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And I was speaking with one of your employees earlier, and I learned that you have a 1-year warranty on your pre-owned coaches here at Millennium. How old of pre-owned coaches do you sell here at Millennium, and what's the pre-owned program look like here?
The pre-owned is a little bit separated between late pre-owned in early pre-owned. We have a relationship and a connection with dealers throughout the country, especially Olympia. They are a great source for us. We are a great source for them. When it comes to the pre-owned program, we're gonna PDI it. And here's the thing, we know our coach. Remember, they're my kids. So I know my kids. I know that one doesn't like broccoli. I know that one gets up late. You know, I have to wake him up every morning, right? I know my kids, so we tackle those things. What does a pre-owned mean? It's a 1,000,000-mile chassis. Engines have been solid, so we have wearables, airbags, bushings, brakes. So when we go through all that, we don't quite, just like an aircraft, we zero everything out. So when I sell you a pre-owned, it's not gonna have a scratch in it. It's gonna look brand new. We're gonna go through all the systems, but the most important thing is I've gone from AMX through Crestron, through Control 4, through, now we're on RTI, Savant. When you buy a 13-year-old coach or a 10-year-old coach with the original control system, in my opinion, because of my own experience, that's an obsolete system. You can't update the firmware, you can do whatever you want, but it's not keeping up with the new technology. It is actually cheaper and better to, like right now, if I sell a coach with Savant or even Crestron, I'm not gonna try to make that perfect because it is virtually impossible. They cut apps, software upgrades, stop. So we changed the system to the latest and greatest. It's actually, it's less than me having to explain to you that you have to go through 10 pages to dump your tanks or start your generator. It's more about the technology side and making sure that the coach is solid. And absolutely 1 year bumper to bumper, including the engine, regardless, transmission, differential. Bottom line is 1 year, and everything is zeroed out at the end.
That's incredible that you're able to make that statement. I really appreciate your experience in the aviation industry and referring it to like zeroing it out like an aircraft.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of cost and expense that goes into that, but buying a coach at this level, I think people can appreciate that.
And they appreciate it if you're up front and you explain. They appreciate that. So you got to be honest and explain why. And then, like our lithium program, this coach is a lithium coach. But let's say that 5 years from now, it's supposed to be a 10-year system. Let's say 5 years from now, I resell it and the customer that buys it says, I don't want lithium. I want my regular old AGM batteries. We are set up to pull those batteries out, put the new batteries in, change a couple of numbers on the inverters, and we're going down the road. That's simple. 5 years ago, we knew that streaming was going to be the thing, like it is today, right? We don't watch cable. We go to Netflix, we go to YouTube, and now one of our customers said, I don't watch TV, I watch YouTube TV.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that existed. So guess what? We have YouTube TV. So we kind of felt that was coming, but the problem that we had then as an industry was the bandwidth, and how do we get this massive amount of data into the coach and out of the coach? And then Starlink happened. Every pre-owned that we sell gets Starlink system no matter what. Use it or not, want it or not, you're getting it. Because eventually you're going to be streaming. Now the people that were DirecTV lovers, which not many anymore, or Dish Network, not many anymore, or Shaw for the Canadians, not many anymore. Now they're learning to go into their preferred streaming services, and that's how they watch TV now.
Just like your kids, they need the newest outfits and the newest clothes. You want to make sure, even though they're a little older, you're keeping them fresh and with all the latest and greatest.
And that freshness is what matters, because that freshness creates reliability, and reliability is consistent. So when our phone rings, it's always a surprise. It's not that we pick up the phone and we have the same problem over and over and over. It rings, it's either to say hi or something that we haven't heard of, right? And so that's what I like. We, in the service side, we have a motto too, and a process. Let's say you call, you said, my water pump, let's say just water pump, my water pump won't come on. I'm gonna chuck that out to bad luck. Like I just got a bad water pump. Put a new water pump in, you go away, everything is happy, everybody's good. I get a second phone call from somebody else. Says my water pump is out. We have to stop right there. We got to think, are we doing something wrong, or is the vendor doing something wrong? Because obviously the customer is not doing something wrong. And sometimes we take not in our company, but we take our customers for granted. They live here. This is their home. When they tell you that this is happening, and that happens in my service department sometimes, no problem found. I said, you need to go back because the customer said this is happening, it's happening.
Well, customers at this level are extremely savvy,
Absolutely.
extremely sharp, and they have a lot of things they could be doing with their time. I don't think they're just trying to beat you up for fun.
Exactly. So with that initiative, we just continue to move forward and encourage. And if it happens 3 times, then we have to stop. Something is wrong, and then most likely we're going to look at ourselves. Let's say, we were using this battery backup just to clean power for the rack and the equipment. We use Lutron. 2 years into it, 3 years into it, phone calls that the battery backup was going out, not knowing that it has a secret battery compartment within it. And I'm like, our customers are not going to go in there. I'm not going to have our customers change batteries on this super fancy, power conditioner. We replaced 47 of them at no charge. When you come in, problem or not, we have a list. Even to the second owner, we have a list of things that we know could be problems. Remember, we just went through 3. I'm going to blame myself. So I'm going to fix it. Hopefully I'll fix it before you even know that there's a problem. So people come in and they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing there? There's nothing wrong there. I'm like, I'm making it better. Trust me. And this is the way we do it. So we stay ahead, just like in the aviation industry. You have checks and you have things, and you replace things that are not broken but could break.
They're very complex machines, so I can really appreciate your philosophy on that. And I think it really shows, because the pre-owned Millenniums that I've touched and felt, it's like, wow, this is tight. They're doing something right.
And we're proud of that, and that's why they're all on the road today. That's why they're still running, and people are happy. And with that certified pre-owned program, that's what's helping us move some of the older inventory, and then we do that across the board. They send pictures. That's the best part of it. They start enjoying their trip, enjoying their coach. When they start enjoying it like that and they are happy with it, they send you pictures. I got a picture last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Campfire. There's some Millennium with 2 grills pulled out, feeding 20 people out of the bay of his coach, right? And one of the participants is like, unbelievable, great job, right? Not the owner, but you can see in the picture the owner is just ear to ear, right? Super proud of what he has. That's a driver for me. So you asked, what is the next level for Millennium and how do we move from this point? We're going to continue to hone in to building our people, and not only building a better product, everything can be better, right? We haven't hit our ceiling, from systems to installation to drivability, just like Prevost. 100 years. What do you think their first coach looked like? You've seen it, right? Look at today. Look at where we're sitting, right? So if they stopped back then, improving or trying new things, they would not be here. I would not be here.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything that maybe we can share with the folks? Anything you're going to be trying? Any future plans? What's next? What's new? Any cool ideas coming through?
We do, and we like to keep those not as surprising. We have a lot of things on the pipeline. We do a lot of testing. We're big into lighting, LED, power consumption. Lithium is not a go-to for me, but it's something that I do upon request. Somebody wants it, we do the lithium setup, but normally I would just do AGM. We're going to continue to grow our paint facility and our paint people in the facilities throughout the country that we use to help us with our coaches. Just riding with Prevost.
You being the vice president of the company, what is the vision of Millennium moving forward?
When it comes to design, I am really wanting to get in some more show coaches. We have been straight customer oriented with building what they want, and that's been awesome. That's like a great thing to be able to work one-on-one with customers. But we have wanted to definitely put in some new things that are unexpected. This particular coach here that's laid out, we're able to add some fun elements in that somebody might not even think of.
Where does your inspiration for the design in these coaches come from?
My goal was definitely to get the perfect mix. We have the customers that love that Western look. We have the customers that love the current trend, which happened to be white and gray. And I wanted to get the perfect mix where it was a crowd pleaser. Everybody's wanting the wow factors in their coaches. Everybody wants that it thing. So I wanted to create something that was meant for anyone. They walk in and they're like, I have to have this.
On the inside of the coach, And systems-wise, we are current. What's exciting is about what's coming down the line and the drivability. So many more things that the bus can do, they will do, and that's what's coming down the pipeline.
Awesome. I'm really excited to see what you and the team at Millennium are going to be coming up with in the near future.
Yeah.
And we're also going to do some other videos sharing a full tour of this coach. So we'll definitely leave these videos in the description below as we get them edited. But really appreciate you taking the time today to share your story. I know you're very humble, but it's a very great story, and I think the viewers can appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Well, I think that anyone out there that has started their own business from scratch would understand the sleepless nights. People say if you love what you do, it will feel like you're not working. And I tell you what, I love what I do, but I feel that I'm working. I get up early, I go to bed late, just like you said, right?
Hey, I appreciate that, and I can definitely see your passion. I think the viewers do as well, and the end product really shows a lot behind the scenes that we don't see here.
There you go. Andrew, it's been a pleasure.
Hey, thank you, Nelson. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, man, but my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And we also appreciate all of you subscribing and hope you're all having a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.